What's up, guys? Let's dive right in. Tonight's topic is an extended dance. What do I mean by that? I mean, things are different when you get into a long term relationship. Now, if you're wondering where I've been, well, I think it's pretty self explanatory by now. But let me tell you, this guy right here is an expert in the dating game where everything is fast paced, one and dones, and sometimes two dates and it's over. And the thing that makes dates or the beginning of dating different than a long term relationship is you can be ruthless in your vetting process. Things aren't going your way, certain things you did not like about that date, about that person, oh, no harm, no foul. You can just go separate ways and dip. But the thing when it comes to long term relationship, you've made a commitment. There is no dipping. Well, of course, when it comes down to you yourself, hey, anyone can call it quits. It's your life. You do whatever you want. But when you get into a commitment with somebody, you're going to have to work things through with people, whether you like it or not. It's a delicate dance. Because understand this, no two people are the same. Pretty obvious, but even when it comes down to identical twins, hell, they grow up in the same exact environment, but still, you can tell as they get older, their personalities, their mannerisms, the way they even look, it's inevitably gonna shift and become different. So if even identical twins can't stay the same, obviously two people who met through different circumstances, environment to come together and form that union, that relationship, you're inevitably gonna butt heads. Whether you like it or not, there will be differences, and those differences will eventually arise. And of course, everyone says, when it comes down to relationships, the number one thing is to communicate. Well, easier said than done, especially for those who are natural people pleasers, who don't want conflict. It's easy to say, yeah, things aren't going your way, things that bother you, you gotta speak up about it. But guess what? When you're in that honeymoon phase, when you're still fresh and new in that relationship, of course, you don't want to bring up things that sour the mood. But guess what? Things that you hold off till later will always, let me say that again, will always come back to bite you in the ass at the end. Especially if you don't address these things that are bothering you in the beginning. Because you know what? Things that you don't stop, that you don't put a halt, tell them no. Things that you do not approve and you don't speak up about it, well, guess what? That's just letting them know, hey, whatever you're doing, I can tolerate it. Keep on going. Because guess what? You didn't let them know you didn't like it. It's bothering you. You can't work with that. Whatever situation, if you don't speak up about it, how can someone know? They ain't mind readers, and especially if you're trying not to rock the boat. You're trying to put on that front, that smile. You think they're gonna know? Well, of course, some people who are natural naturally more intuitive to these things, they'll sniff it out. And guess what? What's the result? You're gonna have to go through that conflict, no matter how you like it. So you rather do it early rather than later. Because guess what? Waiting till later means you're keeping that thing inside. You're gonna become a pressure cooker, and eventually someone's gonna break, and it's gonna be you, and it won't be pretty. But it's a win-win situation if things are bothering you and you know you can't sustain it for the long term. You gotta bring it up. And it's a win-win because guess what? If you address that issue, bring it up to the forefront, and they don't like it, they don't want to hear it, or they blow up, they can't agree with it, well, guess what? That means you two are incompatible. And they can go. Which means you waste less time. Which just means, hey, more time for yourself, more time to seek out a new endeavor, greener pastures, whatever the case may be. That's the end of a journey with you two right there. And you're not prolonging anything else. So understand that, yes, when it comes to long-term relationship, you two have to learn to coexist. And it's learning pains, especially if you have never been in an actual relationship. It's quite different than being friends, being co-workers. Anything else is different because you're in a romantic relationship. And when there's romance, the sexual chemistry, all that stuff, everything's gonna be heightened, escalated. Even the most minute details, differences, are gonna be huge. You have to learn to adapt. Just like when it comes down to sleeping on the same bed, learning how to maneuver under the same roof, whether the temperature is too high or too low, you're gonna have to come to a compromise on that. The middle ground. Not too hot for somebody, but not too cold for another person, and vice versa. Everything in life is a game of compromise, especially when it comes to a partner, a girlfriend, significant other. Gotta learn to coexist, because you two will be traveling this world together. There has to be concrete plans. People have to understand their roles and orders, whether you like it or not. There are certain intangibles, certain truths that you're just gonna have to address. And I get it. In the beginning of a relationship, when you first get together with somebody, you don't want to think about that stuff. You just want to live in the moment, have fun. Well, guess what? We live in reality. And you might ignore reality, but you certainly cannot avoid the consequences of that. So hope you learned something tonight. Understand that an actual relationship is much, much different than the early stages in dating. Because you're gonna have to learn to compromise, to work things through, to set standards and expectations. Getting to know each other, knowing the behavior, what you will and will not tolerate, what you're comfortable with, and what's a no-go for you. And people are not mind readers. You're going to have to let them know. That's all there is to it. That's all I got for tonight. Peace.